Hi, Santa Barbara and Montecito. My name is Daniel Zia. I'm the founder of the Zia Group here with Keller Williams Realty in Santa Barbara and Montecito. And joining me today is our special guest, Jadon Zia, our director of Gen Z. Do you want to say hi?
Hi.
So Jadon and I, as most of you guys know, we have been doing a weekly market update since the pandemic happened. And we're going to do something a little bit different. We've been so into the weeds with what's going on week by week. We want to take some time and we want to pull back and actually show you what the market's done this year. We're almost at the end of the year. We've got 11 months of really solid data, and we're actually going to pull back the curtain and we're going to show you what the market's doing with some great graphs and charts, and you can see what we're seeing. And it just, we just think it's going to blow your mind with how strong the market's been this year. And we'll talk maybe a little bit later about what the market may do next year. So hope that sounds good. So we're going to go ahead and just jump in, and we're doing this on Zoom. So we're doing this a little bit differently than we normally do. So let me go ahead and I'm going to share my screen here. Hold on a moment. There we go. Okay, so we are now sharing our screen. You guys can still see us in the corner, so you can see Jade's cute face. And we're going to go through our market statistics. So this is put out by the Santa Barbara Association of Realtors. All of these statistics are pulled directly from our MLS, or our multiple listing service. And what's great about this is we have years and years and years and years and years of really strong data. So we're going to show you some charts that'll go back almost 20 years, so you can see, you can put how strong the market is today in perspective with how strong the market has been. So the MLS splits it out into two categories: home and estates and PUDs. Jadon, tell everyone what a PUD is.
Planned Unit Development.
That's right. PUD stands for Planned Unit Development. You see a lot of these in like Orange County, where all of the homes, they look like single family homes, but they kind of are a cross between a single family home and a condo. And so there is an association, and all the homes kind of look and feel pretty similar on the outside. They have shared amenities, but usually lower HOA fees than a traditional condo. And oftentimes they're freestanding like a home. So our MLS and most MLSs group them together: home and estates and PUDs, and then condos are separately. So in our weekly market updates, we're grouping all of the homes, PUDs, estates, condos all together. But for this purpose, we're going to split it out so you can see, kind of how each segment of the market is doing. So here are the summary of the stats. These are for November 2020. There's a lot here, and I'm just going to quickly summarize what's most important. So sold, this would be 137 homes and estates sold in November, and that's really high. I'll put that in context in just a little bit. Here are the pendings. Jadon, why don't you remind everyone what it means when something's pending?
In escrow.
It means it's in escrow. That's right. So if a property, in this case, a home or estate, has gone under an accepted sales contract and is in escrow but hasn't closed escrow, that's pending. And we had 133 in November. That's phenomenal. Jadon, what does DOM stand for?
Days on market.
That's right. DOM is days on market, and CDOM is cumulative days on market. So that way, if a property has come on the market and hasn't sold, come off the market, come on back on the market as a new listing, but it's been less than 3 months off the market, the clock doesn't fully reset. It is a cumulative days on market. So I'll talk about that a little later, but that's a lot of what we're looking at. And then one other thing that's important here is the SPLP. Jadon, do you remember what that stands for?
Sales price to list price.
That's right. Very good. SPLP, that's the sales price to list price ratio. So if you guys are curious to know what properties are selling for in relation to their list price or their original list price, those are these percentages there. And I'll show you in a little bit in a different slide that I think is more easy to read, what that means and why we're seeing that this year in particular. So here's where it gets really interesting. So this is a great slide. So again, this is November 2020. And you can see here 137 sold properties compared to 2019, 81 sold properties. 133 went into escrow this year in November compared to 94 going into escrow last November. That's quite a difference, right, Jade? So a massive amount more activity. The other thing that's really interesting is here, take a look at the median sold price for November of this year, 1.7 million compared to $1,272,000 last year. and to almost 2.6 million compared to over 1.6 last year. So we're talking about almost $1 million difference in the average sold price. So one of the big factors of this year is the luxury market has exploded. A lot of luxury buyers from New York, from the Bay Area, from Los Angeles that are coming up into Santa Barbara that are wanting the quality of life that Santa Barbara offers in this pandemic time. And so we're seeing a lot more luxury sales this year, and I'll talk more about that later. But that's a really key point if you're going to take anything away from this little presentation talk, whatever you want to call it. Here's the sales price to list price ratio. So this is interesting. If you look at the sales price to a list price ratio at 95% compared to last year at 96%, you would think on the surface that properties are selling for less, for a lower percentage this year compared to their asking price as last year. That's what it shows on the surface. Here's why context, the statistics are so important. So the context around that is because you have so many more luxury properties selling. Luxury properties often sell at a much lower sales price to list price ratio than the affordable market. So everything above 2.5 million is selling, might sell for, 6, 8, 7, 8, 9% below the asking price, where the more affordable market might sell at 96, 97% of the asking price, and it's averaging out to this. So we have more luxury sales happening. What I think that's doing is that's artificially dropping the sales price to list price ratio, not because the market is softer and buyers have more leverage. It's actually the opposite of that. It's a very strong seller's market. So compared to the luxury activity that was happening last year, I would propose that we're actually seeing less movement on an asking price compared to last year. So those are my thoughts. Going down here, this shows the number of sales for each price range. Now, this is really interesting. So you can see 9 for sales in this 850 to 899 range, 8 for the 950 to $1 million range, 9 for the 1.3 to 1.4 range, and some really strong activity kind of in this range. Here's where it gets really interesting. And without the context, you guys wouldn't maybe draw this conclusion if you were just looking at these slides. But when you start looking at this kind of 1.9 and over, like this is massive sales activity. So 8 over $5 million sales. A lot of months, last year we might have had 1 sale over $5 million, maybe 2. So 8 is just a tremendous amount of activity. Same with this price range. 5 in this price range, 475 to 4999. You might see 1 or 2 in this price range. All of these here have really strong activity. So anything above this 2 million has just been off the hook. And so if you are thinking about selling and you're in this price range, it's a phenomenal time to sell. If you're a buyer in this price range, just be prepared. There's really steep competition and you're going to pay a premium right now. We're going to slide past this. We talked about this a little bit. Actually, this is kind of interesting. The highest sales price in November, $33 million, 2955 East Valley Road. That is a phenomenally high sale. Last year, our highest sales price was $28 million. And this year, we've had a number of really large properties sell. So we have a lot of really high-end real estate that have sold in that $15+ million category, far more than any year that I can remember. The average time on market is 40 days. The average continuous or cumulative market time is 62 days. So this is, again, much lower than last year. And I think this slide here kind of shows that. So of the properties that went into escrow last month, there was an average market time of 41 days, and that's compared to 66 days. Now, for the affordable properties, that might be an average market time of a week or 2 in some cases. So a lot of this is reflective of some of the larger estates usually take 6, 9, 12 months to sell. And now everything's averaging out to it's basically 2/3 of the normal market time. So hope that gives you some good context. We're going to keep going through to keep you guys engaged. Here are some graphs. This is really interesting. So this is the number of sales year to date, beginning of January through the end of November. There have been 1,200 homes and estates that have sold in 2020. You can compare that to all the last 5 years, and that's significantly more sales activity. Here's your median sales price. You can see the market was pretty flat in the median sales price 2017, 2018, jumped in 2019. But here, massive jump in median sales price this year. Pending sales activity, these are the homes that haven't closed yet, but if you can compare them, this right here, I don't know what this number is here. You can see on the graph, but this was a wrong input by the Association of Realtors. So, but you can see the graph bar is correctly placed, but this number is incorrect. but you can see far more pending sales activity. And here are the active listings. So these are how many homes have come on the market and been active this year. All pretty much similar, but I'll show you what that looks like when we hone in on that. That's a significant. Here's your median listing price. This is what sellers are asking for the property, way more than previous years, but that's aligning with the median sales price. And here are some interesting kind of fun facts. So when you look at the median list price, it's up 19% compared to last year. The number of properties that have gone into escrow up 15% compared to last year. The number of sold properties up almost 15% compared to last year. And the median sales price up 20% compared to last year. The average sold price up 13.5%. You can see here where they take some of the stats and they'll pull out Hope Ranch and Montecito are two really high-end areas to see kind of what the rest of the market is doing, which you can see here, even when you pull out those, you're still seeing a 9.5%, maybe an appreciation rate, you can kind of call that, for the affordable market when you pull out that luxury market kind of skewing some of the data. So the average sold price hasn't gone up as much, but the median is what we focus on more. And we're running a little bit out of time, so we're just going to keep going here. Sold volume up a 30%, $2.1 billion in 2019 of activity, and $2.7 billion of sales activity in 2020. Jadon, do you remember what HE stands for?
Homes and estates.
That's right, homes and estates. So these are, again, we're still in the homes and estates planned unit development sales month by month. And here's important. So 137 sales in November. Compare that to November of 2019. Massive amount of sales activity. And you can see what happened. We had a really strong beginning of the year, and then COVID happened, right? Dropped back off. And then people started making decisions to change their lifestyle and their housing based on the pandemic, and it started ramping up dramatically. September was a monster month, and we're still, this is super strong activity for the fall, the strongest fall market I've ever seen in 15 years. Then you can see here the same thing happened with sales prices. Look at the median sales price right around July, just shot up all of those luxury sales. The market just absolutely took off. And then here, this is active listings that are on the market right now. So this is the number of homes. If you're out there shopping, how many homes and estates, if you were a buyer, are on the market right now as active? If you were looking last year in November, you'd have 343 active homes and estates to look at. Jade, how many would you have right now?
180.
180. That's almost half the options as you had last year. So even though you have more sales activity, you have half the current active options. And so that's what you're seeing. That's why sellers are getting phenomenal sales prices. And so many sellers are choosing to list their home now to take advantage of these sales prices. It's because it's basic economics, Jane, right? That's supply and demand. The supply is really low and the demand is really, really high. So here is the number of homes and estates that have sold since 2002 year to date. Again, we have this is 11 months of data from 2002 to 2020. Take a look at this. You have more sales activity than any year to date in the last 18 years. Strongest market. You hear a lot of people talk about the greatest market of all time for sellers here in Santa Barbara. That's kind of what you have right now. And if you know people looking to sell, please do reach out to your preferred CIA Group Realtor partner, and we can give you a confidential consultation and let you know what kind of sales price you can expect right now, and if it makes sense to sell given your time. Lastly, you can also see what the median sales price has done. So again, 2002 median sales price of $750. We're now just about 2 times that median sales price. Here is our previous market peak here in 2005 is when most people consider it peaked. And then you go down here is your bottom in 2011, 2012, and then you're back up here. So it really wasn't until last year where we surpassed the previous peak, and now we're definitively above that. So we're out of time here this morning, but we're going to stop there. Another time we can go over the condo market, but that gives you hopefully some great frame of reference. Do keep in mind, we have a great new listing coming on the market today. It's a luxury condo downtown. It's literally the size of 2 or 3 other luxury condos combined. It's one of the largest luxury townhomes in all of downtown Santa Barbara. It's hitting the market today for $1,995,000. Reach out to your preferred Ziegler partner if you want the inside scoop. We've got some very limited showing windows to get pre-approved buyers in there. So reach out to us. And until next time, have a great week.
Yep, bye.
Bye, guys.